3, 2, 1, 0.
Here we go. Oh, that's all right.
Welcome to the Real Estate Alliance. So I ask this question in most rooms that we come into because I think it's very important, right? Our lives are shaped upon the questions that we ask. And successful people don't have any less questions than anyone else, or let me restate that. Successful people don't have any less problems than anyone else. They just ask better questions, right? So our life really is shaped upon the value of our questions. So, curious, why are you guys here? I'm assuming most of us are involved in real estate at some capacity, right? You might be on the wholesaling end, fix and flip. You got some money to invest, private lending, a lot of different aspects, right? And at the end of the day, we all need one another. But you need to ask yourself why you're here tonight, right? Like, what is the number one most important objective that you want to step outside of this room with, right? Ask yourself what that is, and then find the person and the proximity that can help you solve that problem, right? Real estate and business really is the problem-solving industry, right? We can help people solve more problems. It helps everyone win. And it just brings us to this. Real estate is a team sport. I've realized over the past 5-6 years in this industry that I can't do it alone, right? You can catch some traction and build momentum and get some deals done, but you need a team, right? You need network. Reining it back to the community aspect. You need people in your circle that can root you on, that can help you celebrate the wins, that can have those hard conversations with you, right? The advice and see angles that you might not be able to see, right? Because the thing about stepping into opportunities is you can't see from every perspective, right? You need to be able to have people, have wise counsel in your corner that can help walk and guide you through that. So this network, very simple. We exist to empower real estate investors and entrepreneurs with the tools that they need to win. So that's probably our mission statement, right? We want to help empower more people. We help you guys win, right? You guys help us win. And a raising tide raises all ships, right? So the goal is just to come together, guys, and really come together in that proximity. And we want to invest in people, right? Investment in relationships and people, I believe it's the best investment you can make, right? Because it's the relationships, it's the memories, it's those experiences that we go through together in life, right? That really brings meaning to us. So without people, our mission, our vision, our business is dead. So how do we invest in more people? I kind of reined it into just a couple key topics and ways that I figured people come together inside of this industry, right? To serve, to be served, to help one another learn and grow. Number one, networking, right? You guys ever heard Warren Buffett saying your network is your net worth? It's very true. There's a statistics that says like the top 5 people that you hang around with, very, very high probability that your annual earnings are going to be within 5% of those 5 people, right? So you got to be careful on your space and protect your time in the people, the network that you surround yourself with, right? And the older that I get, I realize the importance of that, right? Protecting your inner circle, protecting that circle. Education and mentorship. I don't care what stage you're at in this game, right? Every single one of us needs a mentor, right? Andrew Lucas, I'm sure this guy's doing buku deals. How many mentors you got?
At least 3.
At least 3.
Talked to him this week.
what areas are you focused on most in the growth inside of your life right now? And like, what mentors are you surrounding yourself with?
We have one that we focus on our lifestyle, growing our lifestyle to give back to our community, to our church, to the people around us. Kind of really not about business.
Yeah.
One guy that's in our wholesaling business, another guy in our Meetup business.
Love it. Right? So he knows the value of that, right? Having people in your corner that can see your blind spots, that can hold you accountable, but also encourage you to think bigger picture, right? Think about lifestyle. And so many of us, I'm glad you said that, we get caught up in this hamster wheel just hustling and bustling to build a business. We forget to build a life, right? To your point, you can always make more money, but you cannot buy more time, right? So being able to be intentional with that time, to set priorities, to be there for your family, right? And be able to structure and balance that in a way where everyone can win and feel like they're being appreciated and nourished and spoken into. It's important, right? JV opportunities. Guys, I'm a believer that partnerships, strategic partnerships make this world go round, right? That goes back to the network. But joint venture relationships, whether it be a fix and flipper building relationships with Peter, who's got a dumpster company, right? Or a contractor that's relying on the flipper for his next job, whatever that might look like, right? We all have different people in our circle, right? And relying on those strategic relationships, structuring deals together. Maybe you got a big one on the line, right? You're working on this multifamily project, it's 100 plus doors and you've never done a deal like that. We probably want to ask somebody else who's already been there, right, before going through it yourself. That's the value of having a network. Softwares and tools. I'll touch a lot more on that in a little bit. We're really excited. You know, I've failed my way forward in this business, right? Like, I didn't come from a real estate background. Most of you know my story. I'm not going to touch on that too much in depth tonight. But man, I've never been able to really build consistency until I have the right systems and the right people in place, right? So systems, there's tons of mentorship programs out there, right? But there's not enough business systems, right? Like a easily repeated model. And passive investing, right? People that got money that they want to park in a safe investment vehicle outside of the stock market because it's kind of bloody right now, right? Just giving people the opportunity to invest in all different realms of life, right? And that's our goal, is just to cultivate a community and provide a space for any skill set, any net worth, right? For people to come together, team up and win, right? Because we're in this together. Real estate is a vehicle that it's changed my life, right? It's probably the most powerful wealth building tool on this planet, right? You got a lot of different stocks and cryptos, like the crazy, I think crypto is going to be the 9th wonder of the world. That's a conversation for another day. But blockchain technology, it's the most advanced accounting ledger ever made. But that's not financial advice because I've lost a lot of money in crypto too. So the topic of discussion tonight, guys, is who, not how, right? And I'm going to keep this pretty brief because this first get up, I want to have a little bit more close and intimate. Some of you guys came in early on and we're scrambling, trying to get the audio and visual and everything set up. So it'll be a work in progress, but our goal is to have this space well put together, right, where we can just come meet up every month, talk shop, and get in the game together. But who, not how, guys, this principle has literally transformed the way that I think and the way that I step into business, right? How I position people, how I position myself and my thoughts, projecting the future vision for where we're going. But who, not how, guys, you don't necessarily have to know how to do everything. You just need to know other people, again, that have been there or know the answers to that, right? I'm going to touch on a pretty cool story with Henry Ford on that here in a little bit. So I read a book that was talking about this, right? And it really sunk in. So I just Googled it earlier. I'm like, Henry Ford, the court thing, whatever, tracked it down. So Henry Ford, as you guys know, the man that founded Ford Motor Company, in his time, people thought he was crazy, right? Like he was a little bit loony, and his ideas were so outside of the box that no one thought that they were possible, right? But he was so committed to his vision that nothing was going to stop him from pushing through and seeing that thing to life. So I'm just going to read this, right? It really is pretty powerful. Many people believe that they need to have all of the answers to have success in life. When asked a question they don't know, they'll come up with any answer, even if it's not correct, right? Most of us are, even myself, quick to be like, oh yeah, I know something about that, right? But even if it's not correct, they're going to avoid what they believe will leave them looking foolish, right? And I encourage you guys, I don't care where we're at in this game, right? Never be afraid to ask questions. Never be afraid to ask for guidance, right? Because it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache, maybe some lawsuits, right? There's a lot of sticky stuff you can step into in this game. The problem with the approach that the majority take, right? The problem with that approach is that the majority of the world's richest people know that they don't need to have all the answers in order to gain success. And what's more is they use it to their advantage. They may have a certain specialized knowledge in their field, but as Henry Ford proved in his libel trial after the First World War, having a solid team of people around him where that knowledge was far more powerful than anything that he embedded inside of himself, right? So that's just the date thing, talking about what it went through. He had some type of trial with this American activist who had some suit against him. Again, they thought he was loony. They thought he was crazy as all get up. I'm going to jump down to here. So they kept on poking and prodding him, right? Just trying to get him to stumble over his words or lie or, do what they do in the court of law. Because it's not necessarily what's right. It's what you can prove, right? I've seen it. But attorneys were just poking and prodding, right? And they asked him, who was Benedict Arnold? Through to how many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion of 1976? Right? They're asking him, like, why don't you know these numbers? Why don't you know the answers? And Ford was like, I don't need to know the answers, right? As soon as he got tired of being questioned, his reply was very simple. I don't know the exact number of soldiers that the British sent over, but I've heard that it was considerably larger than the amount that came back, right? Questions became more outrageous. And Henry Ford just said this, look, if I should really want to answer the foolish question that you've just asked, or any of the other questions that you've been asking me, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. And by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question that I desire to ask concerning the business in which I'm devoted my efforts into. Now, will you kindly tell me, why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purpose of being able to answer questions when I have men around me who can supply that knowledge that I require? Let that sink in for a minute. A lot of us, we get so caught up, right, trying to get every piece right? We got to have every piece of the equation put together, that we're focused on the details and we're missing the bigger picture, right? And I think, especially with social media, where we're just on this dopamine hit, chasing likes, right, chasing comments and instant gratification, that it's just got us on this, again, I talk about hamster wheels a lot, because I believe that human consciousness is kind of being morphed, right, by the power of social media, dopamine hits, right, through our mindset, on the way that we think. Our attention span is getting lower and lower, right? Average attention span is 5 seconds, right? Like, I see it in myself. So I'll scroll social media mindlessly sometimes. I'm learning to protect it. But where I'm going is, guys, you got to think bigger picture, and you got to surround yourself with wise counsel. That just really sunk in, right? So proximity is power. This is another one of my cliche sayings you're going to hear over and over and over again. Like even on our little logo thing, proximity is power, sits right below it. Because I believe that our success in life and in business is going to be directly proportional to the people and the proximity that we surround ourselves with, right? Proximity is power. Understand that. And it's important to network with a community to help one another win, right? Let's take a little trip back in time. And this is something I've been just studying about, like the cycle and the growth of industry and existence as we know it. So starting off in the agricultural age, right, where farmers working the land, tilling soil, very simple life. That morphed into the industrial age, right? You had Andrew Carnegie, who built the massive steel companies and railroads that just built horizontally across the United States, right? And big industry was born. And everything that we see in this day and age, right, it's all structured on that industry type of model, right? It's school bells ringing at a certain time each and every day, right? The 9-to-5 dream that we've been sold, 9-to-5 jobs are amazing, right? We need skilled people, tradesmen in all these different areas, right? But we're no longer in the industrial age. Times are changing. The ability to access information and the speed of information is so much quicker now than it ever has been, right? And you think about what Henry Ford said about having trusted advisors, where he could find any answer that he needed in his time before they had cell phones. That man was wise beyond his years, right? You guys have everything that you need at your fingertips. You literally have access to any and all publications and information and training and whatever you want sitting right here in your pocket, right? Most of us we spend our time aimlessly browsing through this sphere of social media, going down rabbit holes without intent. But it's bringing us into a new age, right? And somewhere in this life cycle, we've seen this, it's like a corporate veil that's kind of gotten torn. Because, you've had the gatekeepers that have really protected the system that exists, right, for many, 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 many years. So much harder to step into building a sustainable business, right, 20, 30, 40 years ago than it is now, because most people didn't have access to information. I mean, there's libraries, but you'd have to browse through tons and tons of rows, right, to figure out what you're looking for and access the information you need, right? But information age just exploded the amount of information that we're being passed along, and it's just opened up the ability for people to learn, grow, and implement new strategies. And you can literally learn from the best in the world by simply going through your phone, right? Tapping in and figuring out which button you want to push and which industry you want to tap into where you can possibly buy your time back, right? And the ultimate goal of entrepreneurship is not to be filthy rich and just have abundance of money. The ultimate goal is freedom, right? You want to have freedom to choose what you do, when you want to do it. You want to be able to take your family on a vacation, right, and not worry about having to put in for, time off. Mother gets sick, you want to be able to take care of her, right? But freedom is the most valuable thing, in my opinion, in entrepreneurship. That's why so many people do it. And just going back to this device, guys, holy cow, this thing has transformed the way that we do life, right? And then coming out of a global pandemic where the whole world shut down, it showed us that you can do business from anywhere in the world just by using this. It's pretty intriguing, right? So understand the power that you guys have at your fingertips, right? And just figure out where you want to go and surround yourself with people who can help you get there. So there's an old way and a new way, right? We got the old way, that's the train of thought. Go to college, get a degree, get a job. It's great. I'm not downplaying it. My whole family, we got engineers and doctors, right? And that's so needed. People at every level in the chain, right? But there's a new generation that's rising up, right? And there's gaps in the traditional education system, right, where a lot of kids get out of school with a bachelor's degree and they don't even have a job in their field to study, right? Like when I was waiting tables at the Blue Marlin, half the kids had degrees and they were waiting tables, right, with gobs of student loan debt. But the goal is to figure out what makes you come alive, right? Figure out what brings that fire up inside of you, and then you figure out how to get there, right? So a couple principles I'll just touch on. What I believe is super crucial, especially in a time like this. Remaining on the cutting edge. Why is it important to remain on the cutting edge? Because times are changing so quick. Like, it's hard to keep up at this point, if we're being honest, right? Like, social media and everything is just moving so quick. And then you put money printing and this larger gap and separation of wealth on top of that, like, holy cow, things are moving fast. Maybe I'm just getting older, but so last 2 years at a glance, right? Whole world shuts down. I took these slides from an old presentation because I was scrambling for time. But government just started printing money, right? We all know that inflation is a very, very real thing, right? And we're coming out of like a unicorn season where just abundance of money being printed and just tossed into the world ecosystem. It gave us kind of like cushy, comfortable type of feeling, right? But what happens when we print money? Well, the value of the money goes down, and it also exchanges hands, right? So again, we're standing in the middle of the largest separation of wealth in history, and usually money funnels up, right? It tends to go towards the top. The people that own the assets, right? The assets end up being worth more money, while all the money that was printed is just spent on liabilities and somewhere in this ecosystem that you're not going to see it, right? So anyways, pivoting to where we saw this coming, government started printing money. Wall Street started buying houses, paying 100% for real estate deals, as a lot of you guys are aware. It created the most hyper-competitive real estate market that we've ever seen, ever, right? Like, you're talking houses going on the market, and the first day getting what, like 10 offers, 30 to 50,000 above asking price. We've never seen anything like that, right? Where inventory, like a normal market cycle, you tend to have 3 to 6 months of inventory. And that's in a seller's market. We had like 0.6 days of inventory, right? It's insane. And the amount of demand of people that are flooding down to the southeast, like the southeast Sunbelt United States is exploding with growth right now, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. So we leaned in, right? We saw the market when it was exploding. So beginning with the end in mind, we reverse engineered the process, right? It's like, okay, where's the most amount of money being deployed? Because we come from the wholesaling world, right? Like, got started structuring deals, putting them together. We'll flip some deals, right? But it's almost like distribution, right? Just process and distribution network. So we leaned in when this was happening, and we started identifying where the hot pockets were, right? And 90% of our business was out of state over the past 2 years. We're reining it back in now because the market's tightened up a lot, right? And we're starting to get a little bit more focused. But I believe in the one-to-many approach, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. You can have some quick come-ups, quick success, quick deals. But if you truly want to grow over time, you got to grow together, right? You need a team. And so that's led to, these last slides are going to be like kind of jumbled because I didn't finish my outro. It was a crazy afternoon running to banks. It was crazy. Anyways, these 3 tiers, we can kind of call them our event sponsors. They're actually just like our proprietary companies. But these were born out of, I'm going to say, just this crazy unicorn season, this market shift, right? Because early on, I realized pretty quickly, right, working from a laptop and day trading real estate, right, selling to these big cash buyers, that there was a need for that, right? And there was a lot of demand for housing. It's not technically good that all these buy and hold investors and institutions are buying all the median income houses? Because it's creating a generation of renters, right? It's not good in the big picture. It's a consolidation of wealth at the largest level. But it's one of those things where you realize if you don't act now in order to secure the wealth and the well-being of your family and their family to come, right? Again, in the middle of this larger separation of wealth, the rich get richer, poor get poorer, right? And somewhere in between, some people lean in, get lucky, right? And they're able to create a suction cup, right? And siphon some of that money into their camp, right? So again, it's exchanging hands, right? And some people lose a lot of money, a lot of fortunes are made. But again, leaning in and recognizing I think it's not hard to see that the whole market has been manipulated, right? At the largest level, like financial, like it's almost like pulling the strings, right? It's not that hard to see. But leaning in, guys, and figuring out how you can place yourself and have a strategic advantage in a time like this is how you win, right? You can watch everything happen around you. We can whine and complain, right? I complain a lot about thinking that communism's here, right? It's kind of a joke, it's kind of not, but we can complain all we want, right? But you got to take action if you actually want to change something in your life. Nothing's going to change unless you make it, right? So, anyways, Investor Syndicate was born. That's really just our inner circle community where we empower real estate investors and entrepreneurs with the tools that they need to scale, right? Giving predictable, proven systems, helping them to launch, grow, structure a business from the ground up, right? And our goal is to provide the infrastructure and the support to also guide them through the deal structuring process from beginning to end, right? And out of that, I'm like, okay, the coaching, the mentoring it's really cool, and we can grow a lot, but we need like a system. We need a proven business system, right? And so that the CRM aspect, right? I've gone through, I think, 5 different CRMs in the past, 4 years. There's always a pain point, right? I'm always need something that's got email and text, or I need something that's going to do drip campaigns and everything in between. But nothing ever completely communicated and integrated with the apps and the tools that I wanted. So we had to build it, right? And that's where this guy he doesn't let me tell people that he can build things. But he came in and partnered up, and we built Market Pro, which I believe is one of the most powerful all-in-one real estate tools that investors could use. It's simple. It really is simple out of the box. It's not clunky and hard to use like most CRMs. And it solves a real problem. But it started with us, right? It started with us having a real legitimate need. So we built it in-house, right? And then once we had refined it and gone through the beta testing systems, well, we could offer that as a service to other investors. And software services are a big deal, right? Like you can make an exit on a software company after you grow it for a while. So anyways, this is kind of looking just at the progression over the past, say just 2 years, at what started as just a vision, as a dream, right? Got into real estate and it's cool, right? I'm just like throwing my own weight around, trying to just get things to stick, right? Throw deals on the wall, make some money. But then I started to get very serious about structuring a business and putting together a system, right? Bless you. So now our sell point, I'm like, you guys need a business system, right? Like coaching's great, right? But you need somebody that can teach you how to use and you build a system around your business. And then Better Skip's our little data company where I got tired of overpaying for data, right? As real estate investors, we need access to reliable data. So we built a skip tracing company where it's like half of the price of normal data. So anyways, that's just a quick glance at Market Pro. I'm pretty excited about it, if you guys can't tell. Super cool. Carlos, what do you think of it so far? Huh? Not even. Like 3 days, 4 days? Is it more efficient than your old CRM so far?
Yeah, we use Poly now, but with Poly we have to actually build it to do what it needs to do. This is like out of the box already. flexible, so we can add what we can do. We can pretty much go to the deal or then it's other folks, so we can use this and that add it. So it's not bad.
Yeah. It's cool. And you have the flexibility too to like build anything in it that you want, right? You can customize all your own workflows and communication tabs. For those of you that signed in the front, that's like sign in and you got a text like, hey, Andrew, welcome to Real Estate Alliance. I was just Market Pro talking to you guys. It's kind of like a mix of like AI with CRM systems where we can seamlessly communicate with people. But inside of it, so I won't go too deep into like deal structuring. I want to keep this kind of short and to the point. But 20% of our deals come from like low-hanging fruit, right? We make a call or we get a call from a direct mail piece and hey, got your postcard, I'm interested in selling. Let's talk, right? Sign the contract, we're good. Well, that's 20% of our deal flow, right? 80% of our deals should come from long-term follow-up, from nourishing those leads, from building long-term relationships. Say the average sale comes between the 5th and like the 9th touch, right? Like 7 touches to get to a contract with that person. A touch could be a phone call, an email, text message, whatever the case might be, right? But many of us, we get these leads, we talk to them, it doesn't convert, and it just gets lost somewhere in the cloud, right? Or on our notebook, if we're using a notebook, right? Gets lost in the cloud because we don't have an automated system. And the thing is that a lot of these companies are getting so technologically advanced. You know why it's hard to find deals? Is because you got freaking ninja data scientists that are building these freaking systems that do the work for you, right? So our goal is to create, follow-up sequences where after the lead comes into our system, they get hit with a text message, emails, and RVMs, which ringless voicemail, where it'll call the phone and leave a message, right, on autopilot. So you don't have to hustle and bustle until they respond to one of those messages coming through. So anyways, it's pretty cool. You guys, we're hoping you see a lot of it. And we really view our business, right, as 3 core pillars. We got the real estate investing, right? I mean, that's a monster in itself between fix and flipping, buy and hold, wholesaling, passive investing. There's a lot of different angles. And not one person can't do all this, right? Hence the reason you need a team. Education and mentorship and softwares and tools. So those are the pillars, right? Very simple. But the goal is to be able to teach and equip people inside of that. I'm going to wrap it up pretty quick here. Here's just a few principles that we've really built our life on business on. Begin with the end in mind. When I first started building a business, started building a DJ company, right? I thought it'd be cool to like entertain, and it's a skill set I had from my past. And I figured I could turn around and market towards weddings, private events, corporate functions. And Teresa knew me in that time, right? I was very young and just like, yeah, let's build something. And I read a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Simple principle, begin with the end in mind, changed the entire trajectory of my life, right? Changed the way that I think. So I started to ask myself, do I really want to be a 50, 60-year-old DJ hyping up the crowd? And I answered that with a resounding no, right? I'm like, thinking long term, that's probably not it. And then shortly thereafter, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I realized that real estate was that. Start small, master the process, right? Don't get caught up in trying to go big and eat the whole elephant, guys. You got to do it chunk by chunk by chunk. And it's hard. It's hard to know what to focus on when you're thinking about the big picture, right? That's where having a strategic plan and how you're going to structure and put together your business and system, and then compress that, right, into calculated steps in time so that you can get there. Systems, right? Without systems, you really don't have a business. And a good determinant of that is if you can leave, say, go on vacation to Bali for 3 months and your business runs itself, you probably got a business. If not, you own a job, right? So you need systems in order to grow a true business, right? Team communication. We're getting better at this. I think it's a constant, never-ending improvement, right? But communication is one of the most important things in life and business. fights with your spouse, it's usually because of lack of communication, right? Problems in a business, probably missing the communication factor, right? Communication. You need tools, right? You need tools to be efficient with communication. Maximizing conversions, Market Pro. That's really it, guys. I encourage you guys just to really lean in. As you know, we're passionate about entrepreneurship. I think this is a season where a lot of people have an opportunity and a platform to rise up, where you can get in the game, right? Where you can surround yourself, band together with a group of people, band of brothers, right? A community that's got your back, that's there to encourage you, support you, push you on to step into becoming your greatest possible self, right? Now is the time